back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. Today I'm going to bring you along on a journey of trying something new. We were given a package of Carne Picada meat, and I hadn't cooked that before, so I decided to look up a recipe. And basically it's a way of making seasoned meat to use in burritos, tortas, and basically are like burrito bowls or almost like taco meat. But it's the same cut of meat that we make stew meat out of. It's just cut a little differently. And this is more small chopped bits of meat. So first off, we're going to brown them in the skillet. And we'll brown it in batches because you don't want to crowd your pan. So this will be the first time making this, and my end goal is to make tortas tonight because I love tortas, and this is the perfect kind of meat to use on them. So I'm breaking up the meat here.
And where did you get this recipe?
I found it on, it's bestbeefrecipes.com.
Ooh.
So.
And you've already, did you put anything in the pan, by the way?
I put in some vegetable oil. It calls for olive oil, but I just ran out. I cooked so much I ran out of stuff. So I'm just using some canola oil. So now that it's starting to heat up, we're going to put the meat in. I'm going to loosen it up a little bit because it kind of got compacted. So. Break it up a little bit. It's all sticking to itself, like nervous people in the corner at a dance.
What are you trying to say?
You were never nervous.
No, I was never. That is true. I was never nervous. I was the fool out there gazing by myself and just inviting people to join me.
All right. Alright, so that's about half the package, so I'm going to let that brown, and it's important to sear the meat because it kind of seals in the juices and adds to the flavor, especially if you're going to use something that's cooked in the crock pot or like you're stewing meat for like a beef stew or something. You have to, this is called searing the meat. It kind of seals the edges of the meat so it stays juicier while it's cooking. And you need to be able to have it like in a single layer in the pan so it can brown. And this will happen quickly because it's very thin bits and small amounts. So let me move this over here. And after we get all the meat brown, we're going to put it in the crock pot with a mixture of spices and flour, followed by a can of Rotel, which is tomatoes and green chilies. The original recipe calls for fire roasted tomatoes, but the store I went to had Rotel, which is close enough. And you can adjust things a little bit based upon what you have or what your store has available. And it's a 28-ounce can or two of the smaller 14.5 or 15-ounce cans. So, let's give this meat a stir here. Listen to that sizzle. Doesn't that sound yummy?
Oh, yeah.
We are not vegetarians in this house. We like to eat meat. Alright.
We have our fair share of vegetables, we just don't.
Yeah. So, it calls for 3 tablespoons of flour, and I keep my flour in a big bucket because I use flour a lot. So, I'll just do this. And then that's 3 tablespoons of flour and a tablespoon of paprika. Paprika is a really good seasoning for meat. It adds a little bit. So I'll put that in with the flour. And from my previous episodes, we've used paprika in the beef brisket episode as well as the pulled pork episode. Those were a few episodes back. And then we have a teaspoon of sea salt. I really like this pink Himalayan salt. So I'm just going to grind out a teaspoon or so of salt. Alright. Give it a good little shake there. And then black pepper. A half a teaspoon of black pepper. So I'm just going to eyeball it. We don't want to get too much, but we want to have enough. And then garlic powder, a half a teaspoon. And just do a little bit of that. And then I'm going to give this meat a stir. Gotta love the sound of frying meat.
Oh yeah. That's so good.
Way to make a vegan person cry. Alright. Alright. Gonna turn that down a little bit. So I'm stirring up the spices. This is 3 tablespoons flour, a tablespoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and half teaspoon of pepper and half teaspoon of garlic powder. So now that I got that batch brown, I'm going to swap it out for the one that hasn't been browned yet. Sizzling, slowing down as the meat is leaving the pan. It's like the fan's applause dying down as Elvis leaves the room. Alright.
Elvis has left the building.
Elvis has left the building. Alright, this is all compressed because it's tightly packaged. Gotta loosen it up a little bit. As you can tell, it's just little bitty strands of meat. And for this meat, you can actually start with like a chuck roast or beef stew meat. It just needs to be in smaller pieces or thinner pieces for this. But this was already in this particular cut. And I thought it would be great to try. I always like trying something new.
So what you're saying is if I had like a piece of flank steak, I could just cut it up and just very small.
Yeah, and this is actually a cut of meat. A chuck steak is a little tougher cut, which needs more stewing time to get more tender. So whenever you make something in the crock pot or cooking it in a pot on the stove into a soup of some sort, you need to sear your meat. See, they're getting nice and brown. And then this will cook in the crock pot on high for about 3 hours. And then from there you can use it as a filler for tacos, enchiladas, burrito bowls, anywhere you would use carne asada or ground taco meat. I hadn't heard of carne picada until I received this package of meat, and I'm like, oh cool, I can try something new. So I thought we'd go along this journey together and show you this. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and share this video to your friends, and give me your feedback. I love hearing from you. And any ideas you might have for future episodes, or foods you want to see me cook, or desserts you want me to try making. So this is almost ready to transfer to the crock pot. Just got to get a good sizzle in there. See the nice small bits of meat? Doesn't that look good? Mm-hmm. Make it in all kinds of Mexican dishes. Alright, so let me scoop this up and then we'll transfer it to the crock pot. Whoops. Any stray bits that fall on the floor, our dog will come over and go, "Oh, cool, you left me something."
Oh, surprised you didn't hear her name. Or her call to attention.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
I'm surprised she's not underfoot.
Yeah. So, we're going to now put the cooked meat into the crock pot. Doesn't that look yummy? Mm-hmm. So put that in there. Put that in the sink. And then this is the flour and spice mixture I showed you all. And I'm going to toss the meat first, and then I'll add in the rotel. See, now it's nice and coated. And now we're going to add in, this is a 28-ounce can of rotel. Again, the recipe originally called for tomatoes with fire roasted tomatoes, but what I had available to get was rotel, which is actually diced tomatoes and green chilies. So now we've mixed it all together, and we're going to plug it in and on high for 3 hours. So we're going to cook this for 3 hours, and then when it's ready to eat, we will bring you back and show you how yummy it is and the dinner we're going to create with it. So we'll see you back again soon. Welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. Now we're going to show you what to do with that wonderful carne picada we put together earlier today to go in the crock pot. So we're going to be making a torta inspired dish, but we're going to be using ciabatta rolls because that's what I happen to have on hand. And it's a very good sandwich bun, and we're all about using what's available. So I'm going to get 2 of those set up, and then for toppings I have mayonnaise, avocado, sliced red onion, sliced Roma tomatoes, and shredded lettuce, and some queso fresco. Because you always got to have some kind of cheese on the meat sandwich, I think.
Yep.
And I went by and got this today because I really wanted to have either cotija cheese, which is the crumbly cheese, or this queso fresco. It kind of has a thicker ricotta texture. So what we're going to do first, we're going to put some mayonnaise on the buns, because I think a good foundation for any bread is some mayonnaise. You can see it's kind of a nice crispy toasted bun. And I warmed these in the toaster because they were kind of cold from the fridge. Or you could fry them on a griddle. It's up to you. So, there's that. And let me wipe the mayonnaise off my fingertips here. So, what I always like to do is try to make sure I pair the top and the bottom bun. Because occasionally when I'm making multiple sandwiches, I get the top and the bottom separated from each other, and they're hard to get them reunited for some reason. So we're going to start out with a little bit of the queso fresco, and I'm just going to make a little slice to put on there. and then have it go underneath the meat so the warm meat will kind of melt the cheese a little bit.
Ooh.
So, and again, I started with very clean hands before I started this episode, so don't worry. The clean hand patrol is safe here. So, we're going to start with the queso fresco. And then the lovely meat that we made. Logan, if you want to get a closer look, you come in from this side. See that nice meat mixture?
That looks delicious.
It came out very tender and flavorful. And just kind of a mild medium spice. Not too spicy, just spicy enough for flavor. So we're going to put a layer of meat on the sandwich. And then we'll come back over here to assemble the remainder. So I'm going to put a little bit of onion on here. Onion always adds a nice tang to a sandwich, I think. I won't put too much because not everybody likes onion as much as I do. And then, since avocados are a tad on the squishy side, I'm going to put them directly on top of the meat. See that? Doesn't that look yummy? Alright. And on here, spread out the avocados a little bit. They went from being not ripe to being ripe in a couple days' time. It's very hard to catch them just at that right stage. So there's that. And then we have some tomatoes. And I think what I'll do is I will put them on the bun part. And then we can put them on top of the lettuce when we put the lettuce on top of the avocado. These are some cute little tongs I got at Christmas time of year or two back. They're perfect for putting little garnishes on food or dishing up small treats or cookies. But of course, the tomatoes didn't get cut all the way through. That was my bad. I think I need to sharpen my knife. Alright. So there's some tomatoes and some shredded lettuce. And if you'd like, you can also add salsa to this. However, the meat is made with the Rotel tomatoes, which already have green chilies in them. So depending upon your fondness for spice or whatever, you can add that or not. So now we have a simplified version of a torta, which is kind of messy like all good sandwiches are.
That looks delicious.
Yeah. So you can take a good look at that. And again, this is a cut of beef called Carne Picada. And pretty much we just browned the meat in the skillet, tossed it with flour and spices, cooked it in the crock pot with a can of Rotel for 3 hours on high. And my crock pot goes to warm after the timer is out. So it waited for us to get back from our errands. Because like all of you on a day off, it's not really a day off, it's just kind of a catch-up day. So anyway, these are our beautiful sandwiches. And we will let the guys take a taste test here. So Logan, you can watch your dad take a bite.
Take a bite out of the sandwich.
Take a bite out of crime.
Yeah, like McGruff the Crime Dog.
Yeah.
For those of you who are my age, you would know who McGruff the Crime Dog is.
Yeah, I have no clue who McGruff the Crime Dog is.
It's messy, but it's good. This is really good.
And since it's a messy sandwich, I'll hold the camera so Logan can take a taste.
The counter.
All right.
Get the plate in case anything falls off.
Yeah. Just like they always say, you should eat a taco over another tortilla because that way you can have a spare taco with all your leavings from the taco. What do you think, Logan?
This is good.
Delicious.
Delicious. What do you think, Goose?
This is really good.
Delicious. All right. Well, since Logan's still got a clean hand, Well, thank you again for joining us on Miss Cindy's Kitchen. It's been fun to try out a new recipe and to share it all with you. And I love a good torta sandwich. And this is essentially the same type of sandwich without having to go out of the house and go to a Mexican restaurant, which is tempting for me because they're all over the place in Bakersfield. But anyway, thank you again for joining us. So please like and subscribe and share to your friends and leave me comments. I love to hear from you. And have a great week.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.